David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. Today is our Friday stock market episode, and I'm pleased to have Adib Khaldi with Simple Picks back in the house with us today. How are you doing, Adib?
Good, David. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, always love it when you're here. So it looks like the EV stocks have been kind of getting rocked today. I see Tesla's down what, like $9? You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of rough. Do you want to go ahead and pull up Tesla? Let's take a look at it to start with.
Yeah, let's take a look at everything here. Today is not a good day in the world. There's major concerns about potential war in the Middle East. There's been some tremendous headlines overnight. So the market's reacting right now. We see the dollar is holding steady, but gold has shot up, oil has shot up, commodities are obviously in times of despair and worry move up, and the markets are down today. They're just flat for the day, a little bit down. But essentially, the world of EV has taken quite a hit this last couple of weeks. I mean, it'd almost be like we took advantage of the last move before the crash on the EV. That's what it seems like here over the last few weeks. So I'm going to pull up my chart here, and
I saw some news where Tesla was talking about having to reroute all their shipments away from the Red Sea.
yeah, well, that's what's happening right now. That's what's going on.
Oh,
Everybody's going to have problems with essentially passage through the Red Sea, and it's causing a lot of congestion and could lead to an all-out war. I don't know between who and who, but seems to be a lot of action going on. So let's take a look today on Tesla. Again, this is below where I wanted to see it be. If you remember last time, David, I might have
mhm.
drew this line in the sand here and said, we don't want to ever see it go below this 225 mark. Well,
Yeah.
here it is. It has unfortunately wicked down. If you recall from the first show we ever had, back in July of 2023, to my subscribers and followers on our platforms, we called the top on Tesla, as you can see right here. And then, we were still pretty optimistic when we got on your show and spoke about it back in November, December. It was around the 225 mark. We said we like it, pumped to 265, but couldn't hold, unfortunately. So, I was not a big fan of where it was, of where it was trending at the time, and for rightfully so. Here we are today. So, there's really, a limited amount of decline that Tesla can see today, in my opinion, or for the next couple of weeks. I would really like to again come in around these support lines if I ever do get the opportunity, somewhere around here at the $200 mark. But before $200, I'm really not interested in Tesla. I probably wouldn't even look at it for another $20. It can reverse up to the upside. That's great. That's buyers coming in. But on a technical basis, we're not really seeing much here from the last couple of weeks. Actually, a lot of danger since we, called our call out, cashed out our money, and exited. It's just been nothing but a decline, unfortunately,
I
across the
mean,
whole
would it
EV
be
world.
worthwhile selling puts at 200?
Well, it's a little dangerous here to sell your puts at 200 because we're not in a momentum uptrend. So what I would do here, if so, you always want to follow the trend, right? So
Mhm.
if the trend is going down right now, you never want to sell puts because that puts you at a greater risk, right? So what you would want to sell now is probably calls. That's what I would sell. And if I was a clever, opportunist speculator, what I would do is I would write calls at around 230 to 235. Okay. You'll probably collect a really nice premium from it because Tesla's down like $10 today. So,
Mhm.
it hasn't fully kicked in yet until the close. You could probably get a decent premium on your calls, I think, if you write them for, a couple weeks out, and probably continue to hold with that 230 neckline being your resistance. So if you see it above 230, chances are it's going to retest the top side. You don't want to be caught up in that anger, in that momentum. So yeah, if I what I would do, me, simple picks, not that I would even I wouldn't touch this right now for any of my followers nor myself. But I would write calls. I would write the 230 call or the 235 call, probably look at about 2 weeks out, maybe a month out. A month is a little too scary if you're writing calls, so I'd probably do 2 weeks.
Are you talking about selling calls or
Yeah, yeah, I would
yeah,
write the call. I would sell the call
selling
because
calls?
essentially you're betting that the stock will go down. It will not go back up to that number.
Yeah, see, I was thinking along the lines of, well, if it would be good to buy Tesla at 200, and if I'm going to
Yes.
sit and put some
So
money in it, that's
yes.
why I was looking at the idea of selling a put there, because I could either make some revenue because I don't have any Tesla stock to write a covered call on.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to usually also, I mean, you could write naked calls, but it's pretty risky. It's not a strategy that we like to take.
No,
One of our analysts, BG, would probably tell you to do something like a condor or like an iron condor, or somewhat, something to
mhm.
hold it in place. If you think that the price is going to probably fluctuate between the 200 and the 220 mark or the 230 mark, you can buy a call and a put, or sell a call and write a put, I believe.
I'm familiar
Um,
with doing a poor man's covered call.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Look, I'm not the options guy where we are, so
yeah.
typically I just flat out trade them. Every time I buy options, I usually price them a little bit further out, and I buy my options to expire at zero. So usually when I buy options, like I will bet that that's the amount of money I want to lose, and I'm willing to let it go all the way to zero or make a return off of it. That's how I usually play options personally, because the chances of you winning on an options call is like 20%. All options call buyers probably only make profit around 20% of the plays. So that's terrible. That means the market's always winning. That means the guys that are always
Right.
writing you these calls, they're taking your money. So when we bet, and we have an 80% win ratio on simple picks, so that's tremendous, knowing that the market usually loses, and here we are making a win out of a lot of tough situations. So when I buy my calls, I buy them to price at zero. I don't care if I lose the full amount of money. That's how I play my plays personally.
But your
Um,
personal opinion is right now you would just stay away from
I wouldn't
Tesla
touch
and
anything
find
in
something
Tesla.
else to worry about, a different stock to trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at EV right now. I mean, they had their chance. I was bearish when you and I first got on this call for my
Mhm,
first appearance on your show. I believe it was early December or late
mhm.
November.
Yeah.
I had given my opinion that while there is some upside there, we're gonna be at top at $260 on Tesla. I think you may remember, and if our viewers are here, they can go back and listen to it. I said, look, it's at 225 right now. I don't see it going beyond 260. That's probably where I'll start selling. But we still bought the calls on it. Well, where did
Mm,
it go? 265. There you have it.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
we were pretty close. Our analysis is right. That means as long as our chart originally got the right reading, we
Mhm.
continue to read it the same way. So where are we today? Well, today we're at a major resistance at $230. So probably with the whole war thing going on, probably the whole 4% down today. Oil prices are up, so that rivals EV. I don't know what's going on, global dynamics, but nothing pretty to look at today in Tesla.
Well, let's, we're talking about this a little bit. What, the crypto markets haven't done that well here either. I see Bitcoin's down 6% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Bitcoin is
ETH is down a little,
yeah.
but you got some stuff, um, for the week, Bitcoin's up, Ethereum's up a bunch for the week. Holy crap, they're up 16% for the
Yeah,
week.
I mean what happened was essentially the the markets are so funny, the SEC approved the global ETFs that were all being listed in the United States. And
Yeah,
I believe what they did, I believe, don't quote me entirely, but I believe, these guys released a false tweet that was a hacked tweet on Wednesday, I believe, to test the market liquidity. And the market didn't dump. So the next day on Thursday, and they redacted that tweet, by the way. They said we got
I
hacked.
saw that.
Yeah, they said we got hacked. So on Thursday, they released that now it's being approved, and it pumped. But here we are today. Yesterday, Bitcoin got as high as 49,000 at that pump, and here we are today. At
Twi
43.8. So
I don't know if you saw it, but, at Twitter, X, whatever, they confirmed that SEC didn't have two-factor authentication on their Twitter account. And so what they were hackable. And when they're telling everybody they better have a minimum of two-factor authentication on all
You
of
would
their
think the
trading
SEC
accounts.
would. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I saw people
Really.
say that probably an intern or somebody managing the account accidentally hit the publish button, you
Yeah.
know, early or something. I don't know. It just really, that whole thing where the SEC screwed that up just is really
Terrible.
hard to imagine that
I
they were that
totally
inept.
agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
So,
So, yeah, I mean, essentially, there's no reason to be scared or spooked right now in crypto. On a weekly, long-term basis, like this is a weekly chart, so each bar or candle represents a week. As you can see, we have a line in the sand over here. We drew this for a lot of our followers and subscribers back when Bitcoin broke above 33,000. This was a spot that, I had mentioned probably over a year and a half ago that this is where I would go long on Bitcoin once it was crashing below it. Uh,
mhm.
it happened. It literally happened. I unfortunately did not take advantage of that bull run, so I didn't buy at 33,000. I didn't follow my own thesis, unfortunately. And it pumped. It pumped a little too fast for me to come back and say I feel okay buying at 40. I'm an absolutist, so I'm just gonna wait now for my entry. Where are we today? Well, we're floating in a decent area. This has built a nice uptrend channel, and I don't see Bitcoin really crashing. I see that there's opportunities to get in. If I'm a buyer, I'll probably nibble around 39 to like 39 and a half or 40,000. I wouldn't touch it before then, but I'm an extremist, so you're not gonna get me buying in the middle of the pack. I usually will buy at one end and just hold it.
Well, what if China makes it illegal again? Because they do that
I
like
don't think
every
it
other year.
matters anymore because now in the US, they've just got all the volume and support that they need from all the institutions. So that's the big play. That's the catalyst, really,
Right.
is that now it's legal for investors in America to buy Bitcoin.
So let's go on back to our stocks,
Yeah.
and some of these are going to be. We'll go through these pretty quick. Let's go to Rivian. Rivian, RIVN looks
You know,
a lot like Tesla right
they
now.
all do. Yeah. Yeah.
They have
Well, Rivian,
4% drop
Rivian,
for the day.
yeah, Rivian. I mean, Rivian did exactly what I thought it was going to do. I said, I think when you and I got on last week, I said that it's in a downtrend right now. It's just being sold. You said one of your buddies had bought it at a higher price. I said, oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
they
he's
bought it
buying what I'm selling.
26. Yeah, they bought it 26 and the price was at 19. You said, watch it if we get to a
Oh
floor
my
of 18.
God. You should have told, you know what? You know what? He should have
Oh,
came
and we're
on
at
our
18.
he should have just came on our platform and asked us a question. It's free sometimes to just it's you can message us, you don't have to subscribe to our platform
Mm.
to see what we're doing. That little message could have maybe saved him $7 on the stock, which is tremendous. It's a lot of
Oh,
money.
yeah.
I mean, that's like what, like 30%, right? So uh yeah, no, I feel bad. I'm sorry to, see people are, getting suckered into crappy places to buy in the market, unfortunately. But Rivian is looking a little bit better than Tesla. I'll tell you that. Okay.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, Rivian is in the same downtrend. The difference is it doesn't seem like the selling is like the selling pressure is as much as Tesla. When we look at Tesla's selling pressure, we're seeing that there's more pressure today even than any of the other days, and it's really cemented its downturn here. I mean, if Tesla doesn't turn around at around 200 or 205, like it's going down. So I would be afraid. So in Rivian's terms, there's a little bit of a drop, but if I see 1650 on Rivian, I'm nibbling. I'm starting to buy.
Okay. Okay. Um, so that brings me to Lucid.
Oh man,
Lucid's
Lucid used to
cratering
kill it.
comparatively. It's even worse than the others today.
Just absolutely decimated. This stock, since I got out of it, it's just been nothing but a downturn. Unfortunately, I mean, I maybe should have even tried to short it around the 430 mark once that neckline broke. I didn't. I mentioned to you last week that I'll start buying somewhere around 350 for
It's at
Lucid.
$3 now.
It's at $3 right now. So I haven't gotten around to honestly buying some yet, so this is great for me. I am gonna get around to buying some. I really like I said, Lucid and their long term vision, and this is probably the bottom. I mean, this is the flush. This is the capitulation. This is probably where everybody will be spooked and get out if they're in for the last bit before the pump. I think, in my opinion. Now, if Lucid goes below $2.77, I think that's unprecedented. I mean, yeah, it's just there's nothing there, unfortunately. So yeah, I would I would just start buying slowly around this zone here. I think this is the bottom for Lucid just because it's been battered too much.
Okay. All right. Well, I got another one
And
for you. Let's
obviously, I
look.
was incorrect. Obviously, I had, thought that we would teeter around here and come back up. I was incorrect. So I'll give you that one there. I mean, I didn't buy it, so I just didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Let's look at Lee Auto, LI.
Yeah, we
They
looked good for a while.
are they're they don't seem to have dropped quite as big of a percentage as the other
Yeah.
companies today,
Oh
but they're
boy.
probably not any better.
Man, oh man. All of EV is looking like it's getting like rotated out of. Like it literally looks like the rotation has begun and the buyers are walking out. Nothing we could do. You know,
No,
and it sucks because like even Lee, or Lee Auto, oh my gosh, like what a strong sell off the $35 mark. It's this is I wouldn't touch this. I can't touch this. It's gonna probably continue going down unless there's some news that props up the EV market literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If there isn't, this is gonna continue to downtrend.
well, you know what's kind of funny about it is how well received things are right now at the CES show out in Los Angeles or out in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And there's all these new EVs coming out, there's lots of exciting stuff, but there's other things going on in the markets that are kind of tormenting some of this stuff. Let's take a look at BYD. Now, this is BYDDF. It's on the OTC.
Again, as long as Lee stays above $30, I think she'll be all right. So
Okay.
let's move on to the next one. Where is it? Sorry, what is it?
Yeah, this is an OTC stock. It's BYDDF.
BYDDF. That's a new
Yeah,
one.
BYD.
BY.
So this
Yeah.
is the company that Warren Buffett owns 8% of.
Huh. What do they do?
They're the biggest EV maker in the world. They just passed up Tesla last week.
Oh, right, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
they don't sell in the United States because they're a Chinese company. So in order to sell in the United States, a company essentially has to be no more than 25% Chinese owned. And so that's why you
Oh,
don't have them here. There's other rules. That's more of a reasoning why it's not happening. So eventually, so like BYD is selling buses in the United States, and
yep.
so they do, but they don't sell cars here.
Well,
But it's going to happen eventually.
they had an excellent third quarter in
Mhm.
in the last year here. Excellent, excellent. They're like reduced their debt, made money, 21% net, year over year growth. Shrunk their balance sheet a little bit, I think. Uh, yeah, they did a good job. As you can see, they increased their book value here by quite a bit. Probably the
Yeah,
biggest jump in a little while this quarter. So that's good.
yeah,
That tells me there's turnarounds and there's growth occurring here. And as you can see, in terms of the revenue, they had a pretty good year. And there's their countries that they work in. It's pretty much like you said, China, and then overseas. And
yeah.
majority of
They're
their
in
business is in
70
China.
countries. 70
Yeah.
countries they sell in. Yeah,
Well,
eventually what'll happen is they'll open manufacturing in Mexico,
yeah.
which will then make them North American,
Yeah.
and it changes the dynamic, but they'll have to have some other companies that own 75% that aren't Chinese companies in
Yeah.
that manufacturing so that they can eventually get some of the advantages of selling in the United States or whatever. It's a weird mess of, but to a certain extent, those rules are protecting the big three automakers in the United States because
Yep.
BYD has a big lineup of quality cars. And we're not seeing them here. They're seeing them in Europe and they're seeing them all over the rest of the world. It just the BYD onslaught just hasn't hit the US yet. You know what's
I mean, I'll
interesting
tell
is
you something. They're looking. Yep.
so
Tell
um,
me.
you know who the biggest EV seller in the United States is, right? That's an easy one.
Tesla.
Right. Okay. So who do you think is number two? This is not who you'd expect because it's certainly not Rivian or Lucid.
Amazon. No, oh no, well, no, no,
Well,
that's Rivian.
Amazon, that's Rivian. Well, but they're
Let
selling
me
on
guess. Let me guess.
Amazon.
Let me
I'll give
guess.
you a hint. They're selling on Amazon now. So
They're selling on Amazon.
Hyundai. Hyundai owns Kia and Genesis, and they represented 8% of the US EV market in last year, and they are
Oh,
crushing it. They are crushing it. They absolutely are introducing good quality EVs, and they've got a new one that's called the EV9. That's a Kia. That's a large EV, which they're having some supply chain issues with it, but when it's available a big way, it's going to be a huge hit here in the United States. So it's interesting. Just
is
kind of
wow. Hyundai is a publicly traded company, but in Korea, or what is
yes,
this? The Korean market?
yeah.
What
They're
market is
probably OTC in the U.S. I'd
South
imagine.
Korea? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, they might have a OTC. The Hyundai. No, they're on the British exchange and the German. Oh yeah, that's OTC right there. Hyundai. But let's look at BYD first.
Yeah, the
Um, I
BYDDF.
like BYD. I really like BYD, probably more than all the other EVs that I've looked at right now. This has very controlled selling. That's all I can tell you. Um, what's the market cap? 80 billion. Okay. Uh, you know, just can't bring myself. I mean, this is good. This is pretty good. Look, as long as we hold this trend line right here at $26, like today, probably we'll
Mhm.
know today. This has a good chance of bouncing back up. This is doing all right. It's really just coming here at its 9-day, 21-day, and 50-day moving average. That's what I like to use. I don't like to go at 200 days, too far out. But about a 50-day moving average usually can give you a good indication of momentum. And yeah, this is, I mean, as you can see here, it curled back up
Mhm.
and it's, got sold right on the trend line, but kept holding up, had a tremendous what do they call it, gap up on the open here yesterday, and today it's holding that gap up. So I love it. This is like a good setup, to look at in terms of trading. Will I do anything? Probably not yet, but it's a good time to potentially get into this one. I see $26 as a good buying zone.
All right. Well, I got a couple of others for us to look at yet. We've been talking about GTEC. So
Yes, GTEC.
GTEC, the heavy equipment manufacturer.
Oh, I know he was gonna do good. I knew he was gonna do good. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
he's doing
they
good.
have good fundamentals. They've gone up steadily since I interviewed the
Man, every time
CEO
I
a
get
week
on your
ago.
every time I get on your show, they get pumped. It seems like it's the David and EV World effect.
Yeah, since they came on my show, they've gone from 253 to 319.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's something to put.
we're
That's something to highlight about
that's
your
the
show.
David
That's
Neese
something to
effect
highlight.
of coming on my show.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna
yes. Hey,
I'll
it's a factor.
I'm gonna ask him for a an endorsement since coming on the EV World podcast. Our stock's
Honestly,
gone up 33%.
good. Honestly, I really like GTEC, man. I really like them. I like them.
Yeah,
I I see that they're probably going to continue going higher, and a form of that buyback that he mentioned to you, where he came in and defended it, was probably a factor. Obviously,
I did not announce that on the show. So while
right,
I told you about that, and we talked about it a little bit between you and I, maybe on air, he and I did not discuss that on the podcast. It was very
got it.
interesting, and I've
But it's public records. These are
yes,
all public
yeah,
records.
no, it's
Yes,
public record, and we're not disclosing insider information.
yes,
I'm
yes.
just
No, nothing
stating
insider.
that because I talked to him some about other topics, off air, because that were things that
Yep,
I was interested in, and I've you
absolutely.
know. I really appreciate him coming on here. Done
Oh yeah,
I've done a lot
good
for
for
some of the
them.
people that have come on the podcast and
Yeah,
tried to help some of them out in some different ways. But I'm really
good
bullish
for
on that
them.
one because, like I said, they've got been in business making money for 4 years without government subsidies. And now the government subsidies are going to start benefiting them.
Yeah,
And so
right.
they ought to really see. My bigger fear for them would might be being able to keep up with demand. If they can keep up with the production and all that with what they're doing. Okay, so
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely, but I like them. I like them. I mean, today the wick today, brought in a bunch of short sellers, I would say, but nothing bad. Nothing bad.
no, we talked about GTEC a week ago, um, or was it 2 weeks ago?
I think it was last
It
week.
was last week. Okay,
I
and
think I think it
they're
was last week. We spoke about them like 3 weeks ago when I was on your show earlier, and
yeah,
you said you were gonna have the CEO on, and I said, "Oh, that's awesome."
yeah, and it's just interesting to see. I think they were right at they were almost to $3 last week, and now they're at 319. I think they've gone up 10% since we talked about them last week. Yeah,
That's right. I believe
yeah,
so.
if
Yep.
not more.
Well, we could look at it
And I
last
know they're
week.
up 25% since
Yeah,
I interviewed the guy. Okay, so anyways,
good for him.
let's I just have one more, and this one's not an EV stock. This is Marathon, Mara. And then and the reason is I'm always looking for something to do wheel option strategy on, and
Uh-huh.
where I sell puts, get stuck with a stock, eventually, and then sell covered calls till I unload the stock.
Whoa, what's Marathon Digital Holdings do?
They're
Tell
Bitcoin
me.
miners.
Oh, Mara. Yeah, yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah, and they're holding about
Okay.
600 million in coins right now.
What's their market cap?
I'm not sure.
4.2. Okay, 4.2 bill.
Okay. Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Obviously, pretty clear downtrend here. Lots of selling. I wouldn't touch this. I may nibble at this at 16.50, $17 potentially for an earnings play. So what I would like to do is see it bounce off of this initial uptick right here. So my line in the sand is going to be $16, and I would assume that it could do some. Oh, I would assume that it could do something like this type of movement. And then when we come to earnings, we come back up. That's what I would envision for this stock. So would I touch this today? No. Would I touch this just a little bit before earnings if I can see that it's around 17, $18? Potentially.
Okay.
But that's about it. I'm not overly bullish on the Bitcoin market. I mean, everybody's going crazy at the Bitcoin market. Right now, I'm investing a lot of little projects and a lot of little, things that I can help incubate. But in terms of the general market, it's gonna flow. It's in a bullish uptrend. Do I think it's gonna pump to eternity or to a much higher spot? I don't know. I don't think so. But there's a best case for everything. There's a case you can put for everything. A lot of people like Kathy Woods, the manager owner
Mhm.
of the
Of
portfolio
ARC.
manager of ARC. She thinks it's going to go to 600,000. I think she's ludicrous. But actually last week, Jim Cramer, I'm sure you know Cramer,
Yeah.
came out and said he likes Bitcoin. What happened? Bitcoin like literally dropped.
Yeah,
Like
they always say you should go against whatever
he's
Kramer says.
inverse. So you know what happened today? Just today, he says that Bitcoin is topped out and it's gonna go down. So you know what that
Oh,
means.
yeah,
You know
so
what
it's gonna
that
be
means.
bull run.
Means like Kathy Woods might be right after all. We don't know. So
Yeah, that's
I don't
interesting.
like to speculate too much on the general crypto. You could follow my channel. You see, we always we've predicted many crypto
Mhm.
cycles successfully, taken advantage of it many times. Uh, yeah, I mean, right now, my biggest concern is just being sidelined. I turned a lot of my majority of my portfolio into cash over this last, month or two, and I've just been sidelined. I took advantage of seeing the markets pump, to tremendous levels here at the end of the year, and that was for me a good win. Um, I will keep following through with the political events that are occurring in the Middle East right now. A lot of the world major countries are in turmoil. potential war is looming. I don't know. So it's best to deleverage yourself and to take off as much as off the table as you can.
Okay. All right. That's all I had to cover for today. And we've already been going for a half hour, so I think that's pretty good. I
Awesome.
appreciate you being on here today, Adib.
Of course. Thank you so
And
much.
anyways, for all of y'all that have been listening, we appreciate you listening. And please hit the like button, and because that'll get this shown to more people. And for now, I'm going to go